It is time for your Monday Night Raw review. We've got a lot to discuss tonight, guys, as the WWE WrestleMania Backlash pay-per-view is beginning to close in. The card is beginning to take shape. And while this week did have some good, boy oh boy, did it have its bad. And yes, I may have a rant or two, so stick around. We're going to get everything going right after a word from our sponsor. So if you're looking for that birthday gift, anniversary gift, or hey, Mother's Day is right around the corner, then I've got a great website for you guys. It's ihomedigital.com. Pretty easy to remember, right? What's on here? Well, everything. I mean, really, everything from home electronics, kitchen gadgets, DSLR cameras, Roombas, home gadgets, drones, just to name a few. They even have a meat thermometer, a Bluetooth meat thermometer that you don't have to leave your couch to check the temperature. There are PlayStation Store gift cards. You can buy notebooks and laptops. Really, guys, this is just crazy. Head on over to ihomedigital.com. All of the prices are very competitive. So head on over to ihomedigital.com.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Lot to get to tonight as we creep closer to our next pay-per-view event, that being WrestleMania Backlash. Still doesn't feel right, does it? It's just effing Backlash. Okay, I'm done with that. But thank you everybody for joining me, and thank you especially to the latest patrons of our show. They are Randy and Tommy, Randy DeMonico and Tommy Robertson. Thank you so much to both of you joining us just in the last couple of days. You guys now get an ad-free experience for every show we do. You get the exclusive Wrestling Nostalgia podcast. Others are going to follow, by the way. Not necessarily taking ones off of my feed, but maybe doing additional shows that are going to be exclusive only to patrons of the show, and you guys can get yourself on board. If you want to join Randy and Tommy, you can do that at WWE Podcast or patreon.com/WWE Podcast, and you can even get a free mug that's available in certain tiers, and a lot of other good stuff. I'm actually revamping the page as we speak. I contracted it out. I didn't have the time to revamp it myself, so I just I gave the guy my ideas, and he's going to be revamping the page shortly. But if you want to get on there, you're tired of the ads and plugs and all that kind of stuff, it's on Patreon. That's where you get a streamlined experience. So thank you to Randy and Tommy very much. So all the ads that you're hearing in this show, again, you can get them removed for $1 a month. Obviously, there are other tiers that provide other benefits, but okay. Follow us on Twitter at wrestling_audio. We're coming up on almost a year exactly since my official WWE podcast Twitter handle was banned from Twitter. May 19th was the day that I got permanently banned, apparently, from Twitter. Never got an explanation, ever. I've appealed it many times over the year. And there's just still, so basically a big middle finger. I mean, if they'll remove the president of the United States, what the hell do they care about a, wrestling podcaster, right? So anyway, but we're trying to build ourselves back up there. It's, we were at like 45,000 followers, and it's obviously not easy to duplicate that. And I appreciate everybody who's following us on wrestling_audio and Instagram, WWE_podcast. So all of the plugs are out of the way. Let's get to Monday Night Raw, because it was a weird show. It was one that made me go from one extreme to the other in terms of how I felt about the show, in terms of how I felt the direction of things were going. We got a little bit more from Alexa Bliss and Lily, which, I mean, to kind of speak on that quickly, there's really not much to discuss other than, I guess, we can manifest our own Lily just by saying Lily 3 times. Did they just pull that apparently from Bloody Mary? I mean, should we look in a mirror too? Is that the gig? I don't know. Again, I'm not crapping on this gimmick because this is the best thing that's ever happened to Alexa Bliss. But yeah, a little hokey pokey. But maybe I'll turn myself around. I don't know. She was good. She was fine. Lily is a big part of who she is now, and that's cool. She has separated herself from The Fiend, as we hoped she would after WrestleMania. The Fiend has gone into hibernation, of which I'm very fearful of his return, in terms of the fans just crapping on it, if the fans are given a chance, because why should we have any faith in the Fiend character anymore? I mean, I know I've transitioned into the Fiend. Boy, I change topics quickly, don't I? I'll get back to Alexa in a second. But the Fiend, man, what do we even say about the Fiend anymore? I mean, again, he wasn't on Monday Night Raw. I'm just talking about his return, which is inevitable. I don't think WWE is going to dispose of his character. I just think that the fans' reception, the fans' acceptance of the Fiend character is badly damaged. Badly damaged because of the just inconsistencies in his booking. I think they were at a high point when the Fiend's costume was revealed, with the skin burned off and all that, and then he just went back to same old Fiend with a little few tweaks at WrestleMania, was beaten with a single RKO. Yet we learned that fire can't beat him, and we learned that sledgehammers and 18 stomps can't beat him. But hell, one RKO does the trick, folks. Yeah, it's absurd. But back to Alexa. Told you I'd get there. Alexa Bliss, just again, as she did last week, put the WWE women's division on notice. It's now just a matter of, when does she strike? Who does she strike? And what does she go after? Does she indeed go after the Raw Women's Championship? I would think she probably waits on that, given Rhea Ripley has just won it, and that you want the WrestleMania Championship victories to stick, as I always say. So I think she'll probably lay low from the championship picture right now. I think she'll probably focus on that around SummerSlam, and that's when I believe Rhea Ripley will lose that championship. I know that she just won it a few weeks ago, but SummerSlam, for WrestleMania to SummerSlam, is typically the time frame for championships to go. Typically, of course, they vary. They can be a lot shorter or a lot longer in some cases. But I don't mind Lily. I don't think she looks too ridiculous. I mean, Lily is kind of a creepy doll, and she has skulls for teeth, and the doll is genuinely creepy. I mean, I'm a grown man, but if that doll was sitting in my room in the middle of the night, I would not want it in my room. So, I mean, I can admit that. I don't think anybody here would, right? I mean, I don't. I mean, that's how I know that it's not laughable. So that's fine. Alexa Bliss is all in with her character. That's good. It's just, I want to see her get into something. I want to see her get into something of substance beyond sitting on her swing in the middle of a ring setup of her playground. I want her to do something. She's just been talking since WrestleMania, giving us very little other than basically putting everyone on notice. That's fine. But that's really all there is to say about Alexa Bliss right now, because she's not in a program with anybody. But I would assume that she's going after a baby face. That's maybe a point of discussion. But to figure out who she's going to attack, you'd have to figure out what she's cast as. And what is she cast as, guys? Is she cast as a babyface? A heel? Tweener? We don't know. So it's hard for us to predict who she's going to target first. So we'll have to see. My thought is we'll see it at WrestleMania Backlash. Maybe interfere in a women's championship match or something else like that. So, all right. Well, guys, I want to continue on, and I want to talk about something that I enjoyed, and I really can't believe I enjoyed this. And it's shocking me because, and I'll just say it, Matt Riddle, right? Matt Riddle, I have been very down on from a character perspective for many, many weeks, many months now, that they just made him this kind of high, kind of basically saying he's a stoner without saying he's a stoner because it's PG. He had alluded to it, again, this past week on Raw with his scooter, riding around circles, saying that he's flying as high as a kite. He's on cloud 9, except he's on cloud 12 or something. Right. I mean, he's flying as high as a kite. Okay, we get it. Right. So I have been very down on Matt Riddle as a personality in the ring. Awesome. No problems there. And I have been crapping on it. And I 100% stand by that. So I want to make clear that what I'm about to say is in no way a retraction of everything I've said about Matt Riddle from a character perspective. So with that disclaimer, I will say that Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, there's something there. There is something there. I think it's because Randy Orton balances out the absolute insanity of Matt Riddle with his character. It's the RK Bro thing. It's creative. It is creative, and I got to give it to them on that. That was the one thing that actually stuck with me last week about RK Bro. I could see that. It's like rated RKO, right? With Edge and Randy Orton, a much more serious tag team. And Randy Orton balances out Riddle. And I actually kind of want to see where this goes. They are actually entertaining together. Matt Riddle on his own is, I think, extremely unlikable. Matt Riddle with Randy Orton coming off an extremely serious program with The Fiend. I mean, told that he was going to die at WrestleMania. Had scaffolding come within inches of landing on his head. Fireballs thrown at him. All of that. To dealing with Matt Riddle, you talk about a dichotomy of contrast. My God. That is, that's as polarizing as it gets for Randy Orton, go from a program like that to working with Riddle. So I also think that helps out Randy Orton, and it kind of by default turns him babyface. I know Randy hates working baby. That's well documented. But Randy Orton can do it. And I don't think Randy Orton needs to change his character to become a babyface. There's really not much to change about Randy. Randy doesn't need to smile. He doesn't need to address the fans as his allies. There's really not much you do. Other than, have him not attack legends and people that the fans like. So my question to you guys is, do you actually think this could work with Riddle and Randy? Or are you still off-put by Matt Riddle? I've gotten mixed reactions on Twitter. Now, I'm not all gung-ho, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I'm still very cautious and hesitant about this story. Not that I don't think Randy can pull his end, but that can Matt Riddle pull his? Because he's an unproven commodity. So I'm very interested to hear or see what they do. But I'm interested also in your opinion, guys. I'm very curious because, and let me know, tomorrow's mailbag, you still have time, right? You have about a day, a little less, to get me, well, depending on when you hear this. I'm recording this at 10:30 Eastern time in the evening on Tuesday. But you have until Wednesday evening, the 28th, to get me your questions at realwwepodcast@gmail.com if you want to comment on this. Or, of course, you can leave us a voicemail. So you can even send voicemail through email. So you can call us at 518-952-0247. So call us there, leave us a voicemail. But again, I'm at least mildly interested because Randy isn't playing into this. He is saying that this dude is a goof. And Randy is just, he's annoyed by him, but he respects him, which I gotta say, Randy Orton respects Riddle from one backslide. That's a little bit of the plot hole here, if you're going to poke one, and I often do. How does Randy respect a guy that just got a backslide? You didn't even know the guy. You didn't even know his name before you got in the ring with him, apparently, right? I mean, we all obviously know that Randy knows who he was. But from a storyline perspective, Randy Orton didn't even know who he was, and suddenly he respects him because of one backslide. That's stretching it, to say the least. So there is that. But I have to say, I'm not as secondhand embarrassed as I was with Riddle just on his own. Him coming down the ramp on a scooter is starting to grow on me. I could do without the silly birds and his flip-flop flying entrance. That's a little kind of goofy. But the dude's just a goof. He's a goof. My question also is, part two to this, do you think this is just a setup to get Randy and Riddle facing one another? Right? Are we all just waiting for that RKO? I was waiting for it on Monday night. After they beat Shelton and Cedric, who have been all but just erased from WWE at this point, I actually expected an RKO. So I don't know how long this alliance lasts. We all know Randy Orton can't be trusted. So is this just really Randy biding his time and strategically mapping out a point when he can strike? I mean, Riddle said it himself that he's a slithery snake. I mean, if you know who he is, what are you teaming with him for? But I think they're probably, WWE Creative is looking at this going, wow, well, this came off better on TV than we might have thought. Perhaps we keep them together as a tag team for a while and eventually have Randy turn on him, giving us the Randy versus Riddle match, maybe at Money in the Bank or something. Or they could just do it next week, and boom, we have a Riddle versus Randy match at Backlash. It's very possible there too. I think that, you know what I think would be interesting is if they win the tag team titles. I think if they win the tag team titles, that'd be interesting. But the problem is it's around the waist of AJ Styles and Omos, which, by the way, where the hell are they? Have they even been on Raw since they won? I mean, where the hell is AJ and Omos? I'm even looking here. I'm looking through the results page of actually Bleacher Report. That's where I get a more detailed review. So how's that shout out, Bleacher? Actually applied there many years ago and got rejected. So you know what? F you, Bleacher. Don't go to Bleacher Report, guys. Screw them. Of course, I'm kidding. They actually are very good, but they and I'm looking for. I don't see AJ Styles and Omos anywhere. That's how many weeks in a row? Were they even on Raw? Have they been on Raw since WrestleMania? I thought they squeaked in one Raw. Am I wrong? Maybe not. This is very concerning. And it shows you really how they view the Raw tag team, any tag team championship. Good Lord. And it's around the waist of AJ Styles, nonetheless, no less is the word I was looking for. It's just crazy. Okay. Well, guys, we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, we're going to give a little love to the sponsors for this episode. But on the other side, I've got to talk. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about The Miz and Elias and Jackson Riker and The New Day and Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, so yeah, buckle up. This one's going to be fun. We'll be right back after this. Jessica Colvin is the owner of Twisted Buella Distillery, which stemmed from her passion for creating best-tasting infused spirits. The name Twisted Buella represents the twisted flavors of her fusion spirits combined with one of her biggest influences, her abuela or buella for short. Her personality is unmatched and it is infused into every bottle. Twisted Buella is dedicated to producing the highest quality of handcrafted, small-batched infused spirits. They are committed to sourcing their products locally in Washington in order to create a farm-to-bottle experience. Twisted Buella, to this point, is completely self-funded. However, they need your help in order to expand their business and reach the homes of future customers. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram. Search for Twisted Buella, which is spelled B-U-E-L-A, or of course, the best way to help is head on over to Kickstarter.com and search for Twisted Buella. It's, again, Twisted, B-U-E-L-A. So if you're looking for that birthday gift, anniversary gift, or hey, Mother's Day's right around the corner, then I've got a great website for you guys. It's ihomedigital.com. Pretty easy to remember, right? What's on here? Well, everything. I mean, really, everything from home electronics, kitchen gadgets, DSLR cameras, Roombas, home gadgets, drones, just to name a few. They even have a meat thermometer, a Bluetooth meat thermometer that you don't have to leave your couch to check the temperature. There are PlayStation Store gift cards. You can buy notebooks and laptops. Really, guys, this is just crazy. Head on over to ihomedigital.com. All of the prices are very competitive. So head on over to ihomedigital.com.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
All right, well, now it's time to get to the segment of the night. Well, I say that very lightly, but the whole segment with The Miz and Jackson Riker and Damian Priest crashing The Miz and The Miz's celebration, right? this is, I don't even know. I really don't know what target audience this is for. Can I sit somebody down from WWE Creative and say, who exactly did you have in mind for this? I assume that their response would be, well, it's not for a specific demo. We just need a little something for everybody. We need to have that comedy relief that apparently just needs to happen. That incessant need to have comedy relief in a wrestling show. There is nothing worse than forced comedy. There are very few things in this world worse than forced comedy. Comedy happens organically. And I assume that's what they were going for here. So what happened was Miz, Morrison, Elias, and Riker were in the ring. They were there for, of course, just the weekly episode of Miz TV. And the A-lister bragged about his network documentary and reality TV show. And they took credit for Bad Bunny selling out his tour. They tried to perform a song, which was honestly just, I know that it wasn't supposed to be good, but it was actually so bad that it was embarrassing. Even though I know it was designed to be bad, it was bad in a way that actually made me just cringe, not in a way that's just like, haha. No. This was just bad. But Damian Priest came out and interrupted them. New Day joined them. And what did they do, guys? What did they do? They threw rotten tomatoes, which weren't really that rotten. I guess they were just overripe. They weren't, moldy. But they threw tomatoes as some kind of symbolic gesture to Elias, Jackson Riker, Miz, and Morrison. And, that's not even the worst part. That's bad enough. Like, WWE has this weird fetish with food fights. They usually do it on 4th of July or Thanksgiving when they have ringside set up with turkey and stuffing and all these kinds of things. But that's not even the worst part. That's bad. But how did they even know to bring those tomatoes? I mean, did they lug those tomatoes around just hoping somebody one day would put on a terrible performance and they could come out and throw tomatoes? Who has this stash backstage? Who's got the foresight to say, oh man, I can feel it tonight. Let's go get a whole bunch of tomatoes. Let's go to, Publix, or let's go to, what's up here where I am? Price Chopper. That's where I am. I mean, wherever you are, right? Food Lion, probably. And let's go get some, right? We got to get it because I have a feeling tonight someone's going to do something. They're going to put on a bad performance and I'm going to be able to throw rotten tomatoes. Or was it also kind of a wink and nod to the website, RottenTomatoes.com, that we all know what it is, movie review website. Critics and the public get to view and review movies. Is that what this is? This was bad. And to top it off, it's actually not the worst part. I've given you two really bad things. Here's what makes it even worse. Everybody in the ring was selling getting hit with tomatoes. They were selling it like when Austin came in and gave the corporation a beer bath and Vince McMahon was swimming in the middle of the ring. That was actually hilarious. That was, even though clearly, he can't swim in the ring. I mean, it's not nearly, it's not even feasible, but the visual of it is so good. And there was so much beer that it's in your brain somehow makes it plausible. And it makes him look like a fool, a child. In this case, they're throwing rotten tomatoes where everybody could, look, if you don't want to get hit with tomato, just, exit the ring, maybe. Don't stand in the ring. Instead, they're standing there in perfect position to be smashed with a tomato. And they're slipping and sliding. Morrison even sold. He took a bump for a tomato. Guys, I'm not kidding. John Morrison took a bump for a tomato. A tomato, guys, weighs, maybe what your water bottle sitting on your desk is. And that's for like those beefsteak tomatoes. Those are big, heavy ones, right? Not the cherry tomatoes. I mean, they were using the ones that go splat. This was bad. I mean, so that's really where I'll stop there because I'm going to start losing my mind on this and it's just not worth it. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm, so negative on this stuff, but on WWE, I'm not. I mean, this is just a bad comedy segment. Let's see, what did Bleacher Report? Bleacher Report gave it a C+. Okay, how? Well, here, okay, we're not into analyzing other people's websites analysis, but I guess maybe that'll be a new segment. I don't know. But Bleacher Report, whoever wrote this, said, we all knew the feud with The Miz and Priest was going to continue, but this seems to confirm the feud with New Day against Riker and Elias will also move forward. Raw's tag team division is thin right now, so it's a little surprising to see a non-title storyline when we haven't seen AJ Styles and Omos since WrestleMania. Okay, good. Well, there's my answer. We have not seen them. We also have the Viking Raiders possibly continuing a feud with Cedric and Shelton, so it's possible WWE is covering for one Raw tag team champs being injured or sick. The wrestling itself was fine, if a little forgettable, blah, blah. Okay. So we're not even going to talk about the tomatoes? Are we not even going to? Okay. Maybe they have a vested interest in WWE. I don't know. But what happened was the actual match was the New Day and Damian Priest versus The Miz, Jackson Riker, and Elias. And the Woods did get the pin on Riker with an inside cradle. I mean, so Riker just continues to be the scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb for the team that he has formed with Elias. So, hey, Jackson Riker's in hell of a good shape. I mean, Jackson Riker, honestly, the guy is in incredible shape. He's got a good look. He's like a mature Elias. He looks like an older brother to Elias. And he's the one always taking the fall. I don't get it. But, okay. Yeah, so let's move on. Another non-title match between Sheamus and Humberto Carrillo. So this seems to be where they're headed towards the pay-per-view of WrestleMania Backlash. And fine, Sheamus is kind of... First of all, this wasn't on Hulu. Okay, that tells you right there of where they kind of viewed the United States Championship after WrestleMania. And it's a shame because Sheamus has been such a high point on the show for several months now. And he's being relegated to non-Hulu edited TV of Monday Night Raw. But Humberto Carrillo, I got to say, at least Humberto Carrillo is getting himself in the mix. I got to say that. That's a good thing. Okay. Where do I go? RK Bro versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin again. I covered the chemistry between Randy and Riddle. But now the match itself. Again, good. The RKO that happened on Cedric Alexander, nothing we haven't seen before, but always fun. The RKO off the top rope was always a fun thing to see. And Shelton is still Shelton. And this ended up in a victory for Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. And this is actually, you know what? Here's what Bleacher Report said, in all fairness. They said, Riddle can be annoying with his gimmick, but the exchange he had with Orton backstage was just the right amount of dumb to be funny. That's a good way to spin it. I got to give him credit on that. The Viper's deadpan delivery is what really sold it. Agreed. The match that followed was surprisingly straightforward. Orton did not turn on Riddle, and this wasn't an excuse to get revenge. He actually seemed to want to make this work, even if he finds the bro annoying. As usual, Alexander and Benjamin looked great. This was a solid match and one of the better things Riddle has been involved with in quite some time. Well, I can't dispute that. That's exactly what this was, and that is probably what does sell it. That's a good way to put it, is Randy Orton's demeanor. He's just stone-faced with Riddle, and you can imagine what's going through his mind, right? This could be a good thing. This could be one of those lightning in a bottle teams. Seriously. I know I'm getting way ahead of myself, and they could totally crap the bed on this next week on Raw, and they very well may. But they may have something here. They really, really may. Who knew? But of course, let's let this thing play out and let it breathe. All right, Asuka, Lana, and Naomi versus Naya, Shayna, and Rhea Ripley. So what happened in this match, again, not a Raw Hulu version. Apparently, again, it's not important enough, according to WWE. and understandably so to some degree. And Jax ended up getting the win with a leg drop. So I don't understand. How the hell are Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax still a team? Somebody, please. I don't understand this. But here's the description of the match. So we had Rhea trying to tag in. Asuka managed to get the upper hand. As soon as Lana took a turn in the ring, the Raw Women's Champion regained her composure and started dishing out punishment. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out to watch from ringside. So Baszler tried to run them off. They threw a bucket of water on her. Oh my God. When Nia Jax tried to help her partner, she ended up slipping in the water a few times. Okay, you know what? Let's, what we're going to do is a first here on the WWE podcast. Listen, you can hear it in the background. I'm watching this in real time. Skip ahead here. I need to see this nonsense. Oh boy. Hope you guys can hear this. Okay, so Shayna Baszler's coming up the ramp here. Mandy Rose. Oh God. This. Oh my God. This is... All right, I'm going to stop it there. I'm not going to make you guys listen to Raleigh. You just saw it. You know, like, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to own something that happened by accident at WrestleMania. And I get that. But why is it Nia Jax owning something that Mandy Rose did at WrestleMania? I mean, is it that... I don't get it. I don't know. Like, this is making Nia Jax slip and fall. I mean, she slips and falls on water and then gets up and acts like it's, you know, she's acting like, I'm picturing Home Alone, right? When Macaulay Culkin, you know, puts ice on the stairs of his house for the robbers to try to get in, and they continuously keep slipping down the stairs. I think Marv is the one who Daniel Stern, who played Marv. We had him slide down the stairs, and then he gets up and he slips back down and he keeps falling. That's what this reminded me of. It seems like somebody watched Home Alone over the weekend, and they're like, you know, it'll be hilarious if Nia Jax continues to fall. Like, water is slippery, but not on rubber. Like, especially that kind of rubber that has traction on it. And she's a big girl. It's so bad. And she didn't see the water, really. And then they laugh like schoolgirls. Oh boy. All right. So maybe that's a first. You guys, normally I don't watch the first time with you guys, but maybe that'll be like a new thing, right? Let me know what you think about that. And you can kind of hear it in the background. I know it's not super loud, and I know you're probably, you know, maybe turning up your speakers, whatever. I don't want you to have to do that, but you can hear it in the background. So then we get Mandy Rose. Oh, I'm sorry. Before this, we get Charlotte Flair, who was brought into the arena through the back door from the other WWE official. Apparently, we have another WWE official with Adam Pearce, and her name is Sonya Deville. I mean, I knew she was in that role, but apparently she's actually changed and transferred to the title of WWE official. So that's interesting that they actually officially transferred her to that name. It's weird. I'd rather have Sonya Deville much more in a ring on the mic than backstage playing GM with Adam Pearce. But we had Sonya Deville inexplicably sneak her into the building, and all she has to do is issue an apology to the referee for what happened last week. She brutally attacked him multiple times. And all that requires is an apology. There must be something up here. There's got to be something up with Mandy Rose and her interest in the women's division here with Charlotte. There's got to be something there that I hope is eventually going to return her to the ring. Adam Pearce did get angry, and deservedly so, afterwards. Charlotte also made the referee apologize after the referee admitted that Charlotte should have won the match. And that was the whole heelish most heelish part about it, because Charlotte did apologize. You know, she did apologize for her actions, and the emotions got the best of me and all that stuff. And that's fine. You know, I would say this is kind of like a very in-between week for Charlotte, that has been on the ascent. And then this week it was kind of like, all right, let's see what's going on here. I mean, she did also have a match with Mandy Rose, and the same referee that was involved in that beating up last week, Charlotte Flair attacked, was also the referee for her match between herself and Mandy Rose. And at one point I thought she was going to snap again. She didn't. Eddie Orengo is his name, to be fair. And Charlotte beats Mandy Rose clean with natural selection. So really that's it. There's really nothing else beyond that. I thought that we were going to get something else, another development. She was going to attack a referee again. Nothing. So I'm not sure what that's all about, honestly. Maybe they don't know either. Okay. And then, of course, we get to the thread throughout the show of Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. Everybody's got tension. It's just, Braun Strowman is, I guess he's growing his hair back out. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, I think he looks better as kind of the shaved head look, personally, with the beard, but I guess he's growing it back out, and maybe he just feels like it's time. That's fine. But Braun Strowman ends up in a handicap match with Mason T-Bar, and Braun Strowman won that match by DQ after they didn't listen to the referee's 5 count. Then we got Drew McIntyre coming out after the beatdown to make the save, and it was a tag team match, which, don't you love it too, by the way? You have somebody come out to even the odds, and then they go to commercial break. And then when they come back from commercial break, they say, this match was made official during commercial break. I mean, I guess the formula, right? The formula is just sometimes so tired sometimes. I mean, somebody gets thrown to the outside of the ring, usually a baby face, and it's always, can so-and-so get back in the match as Raw rolls on? You know, it's all the same. Everyone's got their same kind of like outros and intros and corporately approved statements and all that stuff. But nonetheless, Drew McIntyre versus Mason T-Bar. Mason T-Bar defeat McIntyre and Strowman by countout, as Drew wasn't able to get back in the ring on time. So that's the second match that Drew was in. I'm sorry, that Braun Strowman was in on Monday night. And then since there was a miscommunication between McIntyre and Strowman during the match, we had Strowman deliver a running power slam to McIntyre, and that led to the match inevitably at the end of the night to main event Raw between Braun Strowman and McIntyre. And the key was here that if McIntyre loses and Braun Strowman wins, then Braun Strowman would be added to the match at WrestleMania Backlash. And we all knew that, well, they wouldn't add the stipulation if it wasn't going to happen. So guess what we got? And interesting that Adam Pearce said last week, I can't snap my fingers. I can't just make it happen. That's not how things work. Really? Well, you seem to have no problem making several matches, including major implications on the title match, the WWE title match at Backlash. So, hey, whatever. It was the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. It was the statement, and what I'm referring to is last week when we had Daniel Bryan on SmackDown talking to Adam Pearce, saying, you need to make this match between Cesaro and Roman Reigns. And, Adam Pearce says to Cesaro, or to Daniel Bryan, it's not how things work around here, Daniel. I can't just snap my fingers and make it happen. That's your job, Adam. That's what you do. You make matches. That's what you do. You're the de facto GM without the GM title. So what's the problem? You make matches all night, all day, every week, all week. What are you talking about? That's like going into a Subway shop. You ask for a sub, and the person there is like, sorry, that's not what we do here. That's not how things work. Yeah, like, no, I'm in here for you to make the sub. And they're like, sorry, that's not what we do. Well, then what the hell are you doing here? Same thing. It was ridiculous. So That statement on SmackDown was just asinine. But Braun Strowman in a third match for the night ends up actually defeating Drew McIntyre, as we knew he would, because of a ton of interference. And you can credit Mason T-Bar for getting it, interfering in this match and costing Drew the matchup. Drew loses to a running power slam, yet 3 F5s don't beat him. So there's always that. An RKO doesn't put him down, but hey, one running power slam puts down McIntyre. You know what? I'm complaining about it, but at the same time, I can appreciate it because it brings back the importance of finishers to be exactly what they are. Finish the match. So perhaps, I think I'm stretching it, but maybe, just maybe somebody in creative was smart enough to say, hey, can we stop having so many kickouts of finishes? Right? Because then it doesn't become interesting when somebody hits it, they're going to kick out, which is what we've been educated to believe for many years now. So I appreciate that a single finishing maneuver put somebody down to finish the match. So, I don't think that was by design that they're trying to have a whole structural change in how finishers are perceived by the audience. I don't think that's the goal, but maybe it's the start of something. I have my doubts, but so Braun Strowman added to the match at Backlash. I'm kind of not happy about this, honestly. I think Braun Strowman, I think he's a good person to have on your roster. I have nothing against Braun Strowman. He's exactly what you want him to be. He's the monster big man that he'll tell you he's the monster among men, which is weird when people use their own nicknames. Do you guys have a problem with that? When somebody, like, you didn't have Austin when he was when he would be in a promo, he wouldn't say to The Rock, the Texas rattlesnake is going to whoop your ass. No. Don't do that. You don't use your own nicknames. I know The Rock is an exception. People are saying, oh, The Rock. Yeah, The Rock did it. But The Rock was so charismatic and he could make it work. You just don't use your own nicknames. You just don't. It's weird most of the time. But the one thing I didn't comment on at the beginning of the show, though, when we had Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre before Strowman's first match, one of 3 for Strowman for the night, before his handicap match with Mason T-Bar, he and McIntyre were in the Gorilla, and they were, cutting promos against one another about, who deserves what and who needs to teach somebody what. And apparently, we have McIntyre, who really just scalded Braun Strowman. I mean, he said, that he's won championships all over the world. He's been doing this for 16, 17, 18 years. He's a 2-time WWE champion. I don't think I need to be told by anyone what to do. And Braun Strowman's like, well, I'm the monster among men. That's all he had. That's it. I'm like, so you have a nickname. Cool, man. Great one. Right? I know he captured the Universal Championship, and I get that, but yeah, it was just funny. Like, McIntyre put all these credentials down that are respectable, and then Braun Strowman's like, well, I'm the monster among men. This is ridiculous. Oh, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's so true. It shows you the difference in respect I think fans have for these guys. Not that I don't think fans respect Braun, but I think that if given a chance, it'd be McIntyre all the way in terms of support and crowd reaction. So I'm really not happy though about this. I'd rather see just a one-on-one between Lashley and Strowman, or Lashley and McIntyre at Backlash rather than bringing in the third man. But WWE loves them triple threats, don't they? They cannot stay away. And we're getting another one at Backlash. So that is your Monday Night Raw review, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Maybe we'll do more of like live reviews where you can kind of hear the audio in the background and I react in real time. Maybe. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I'll be back tomorrow. Dual show tomorrow with the Wrestling Nostalgia Show. Of course, that's exclusive to our Patreon listeners. And then we'll get the mailbag on the show. If you want to get your questions in, guys, now's the time to do it. realwwepodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voicemail, 518-952-0247. that is the number. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. As always, take care. I'll talk to you next time. So if you're looking for that birthday gift, anniversary gift, or hey, Mother's Day is right around the corner, then I've got a great website for you guys. It's ihomedigital.com. Pretty easy to remember, right? What's on here? Well, everything. I mean, really, everything from home electronics, kitchen gadgets, DSLR cameras, Roombas, home gadgets, drones, just to name a few. They even have a meat thermometer, a Bluetooth meat thermometer that you don't have to leave your couch to check the temperature. There are PlayStation Store gift cards. You can buy notebooks and laptops. Really, guys, this is just crazy. Head on over to ihomedigital.com. All of the prices are very competitive. So head on over to ihomedigital.com. Jessica Colvin is the owner of Twisted Buella Distillery, which stemmed from her passion for creating best-tasting infused spirits. The name Twisted Buella represents the twisted flavors of her fusion spirits combined with one of her biggest influences, her abuela or buella for short. Her personality is unmatched and it is infused into every bottle. Twisted Buella is dedicated to producing the highest quality of handcrafted, small-batched infused spirits. They are committed to sourcing their products locally in Washington in order to create a farm-to-bottle experience. Twisted Buella, to this point, is completely self-funded. However, they need your help in order to expand their business and reach the homes of future customers. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram. Search for Twisted Buella, which is spelled B-U-E-L-A, or of course, the best way to help is head on over to Kickstarter.com and search for Twisted Buella. It's, again, Twisted, B-U-E-L-A.